Welcome to this first tutorial video looking at using the microbit microcontroller at CRC North Keilor. We're going to begin by just starting looking at how the coding platform works. In future tutorials, we'll look at how we can actually create product and programs using this product. We'll start at the website, which is just microbit.org. It's designed, or was originally designed as a teaching tool right from day one. It's part of a push originally from the UK, where every student received one of these a few years back. So the microbit.org website has literally thousands of ideas, tutorials, and other bits of information that can really help you do some really amazing and interesting things with the microbit. For our purpose today, we're going to go straight to the Let's Code option up in the menu here. And from this page, you can choose the two main methods of programming a microbit. You can use a block editor that's very much like Scratch and the Grok program that we've been using. You can also use the Python editor if you're familiar with this or would like to do things a little bit more advanced. Certainly the Python editor and Python in general gives you a lot more control, a lot more in-depth control of your microbit. But we will begin in this tutorial at least with the block editor. Either way, you press the Let's Code. I would suggest maybe making a bookmark of these to make it a bit quicker so you don't have to go through these steps to get to it. But let's go now into the block editor. Okay, when you open up a new program or a new script basically in microbit, in the block editor at least, this is the screen that you will get. We can see it looks a little bit like similar style programs, again a bit like Scratch or Grok, where we have a set of menus that have all the different commands we can use. We have a workspace over here on the right hand side, but what's really great is we also have a complete simulator of a microbit. So in a lot of cases you don't even need a real microbit board to program and see and test all your ideas. It's not really until you start adding things to this strip down the bottom here, this connector, to connect it to things like other sensors and motors and things like that. So until you sort of need this part, you really can do almost everything in the simulator. We're not going to look at writing a program today, or in this tutorial anyway. We're just going to look at how this site works. So from here, of course, the idea is you would drag in blocks and link them together just like you've done in similar programs. So again, this is not going to do anything, but you can see how different blocks would just lock together. That one won't, of course, but we can put that inside there. So you'd build up a program in the same way as you've seen in similar things. And in fact, you can now see our simulator actually kicking in. It's seeing that this little commands is showing an icon of a heart, and it's actually doing that, and it's going in a forever loop. So we can see now how our simulator is actually working. The buttons, of course, are clickable, just like if they were real buttons on the microbit. And you have some different controls down the bottom here for your simulation. So we have a stop simulation, which is like sort of pausing the product. There's no similar thing in real life, but it's very useful when testing. We can press play again. We can basically press this one, which is like a reset. So it's a bit like pulling the power out and plugging it back in again on the real piece. We have a snail, which is a slowdown. So it slows down the processing. Again, of course, there's no such thing in real life, but sometimes that can be useful to see things that maybe happen too quickly for you. We do have a mute audio. Now, the microbit doesn't in fact have a speaker built in, but the simulator will simulate the connection of audio equipment to this. Again, we won't cover that in this video, but we may in a future video. And we also have this one, which basically takes our simulator to full screen. Particularly good if you want to take a video of your work or something like that for submission or something along that line. And of course, we can now go back to normal size. In the work area, we can move around that workspace. Again, it's sort of an infinite workspace. We can move horizontally and vertically to find what we want. We've got undo buttons down at the bottom and redo. We can zoom in and out to get more on our screen and similar controls like that. Up the top, you have a little icon for a few little bits of configuration. So you can set a few things like languages and stuff like that. Generally speaking, you won't want to touch these, but just be aware that it is there. You do have a little help button as well. So there's quite a few little bits and pieces. The last few things I want to look at before this video finishes is just saving our product or our program. So down the bottom here, we actually see this box that currently says Untitled. That is where we save or set the name for our work. So if I was giving this a name, so it might be flashing heart, type that in there, and I press the save icon. Now, you may have noticed what in fact happened is it has downloaded a program or a file called microbit flashing heart.hex. Now, we'll talk more about these files when it comes time to actually using the real microbit. But what we need to realize here is that this particular site does not in fact save to the cloud. So it sort of saves to your computer, but if you were to go to a different computer, maybe you had a spare computer while yours is being fixed, or you decide to do some work on a friend's computer, you wouldn't actually have access to your files. But what you would do is you would be able to download or save these hex files, and you can load those back into the microbit. So if, for example, I'll just quickly clear this up a bit. So I've got that one there. I would be able to go to my projects folder, and I'll be able to import this file. I would then be able to go and find that particular file. So let's quickly do it. So it's going to go by default to your downloads folder. So there it is, the flashing heart. So it always puts the word microbit, then the name you gave it, so in this case flashing heart, and the word hex at the end because it's the type. This particular one has a 1 in brackets because I've actually got a similar file name already. So in this case, my computer put the 1 there to make it unique. That's actually not that important. But if I choose that now, press open, and then I say go ahead, it will load that file in, and you can see I now have my file back exactly how it was before I deleted everything. So really that's how you save, and also then how you would be able to submit work and things like that. Okay, so that's the very basics of how the interface works. Again, in future tutorials, we'll look at writing particular programs and how certain other things work, but at least that will give you the basics of how to get in and how to save your work, etc. Okay, thank you very much for watching so far.